Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amrutangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. O Lord, please lead us from unreality to the reality, from ignorance to the knowledge, and from mortality to the immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. Dear devotees, we are at the end of the Aparokshanubhuti sutras. We started with who am I, what is this world, and what is the God or the ultimate truth, and what is the connection. That's so, with these basic questions keeping in the mind, we started to study or to learn these answers from Advaita point of view. And as I said, Aparokshanubhuti is a basic text on Advaita Vedanta. Now, we're almost discussing all these main points. Now we are at the end of this text. As in my previous class, we did discuss that around 15 limbs or 15 steps, 15 techniques has been given by, spiritual techniques has been given by author who wishes to have self-realization, who wishes to have God realization. We all wish to know who am I in reality. So to know that, the author is trying to tell here 15 steps. And what is Yama according to author, which is different from Ashtanga Yoga of Patanjali, we try to understand in the previous class. Now today we'll be trying to understand other 14 few steps among the 14 limbs of Vedantic practices. Sajatiya pravahascha vijatiya tiraskrutihi niyamo hi paranando niyamad kriyate budaihi. What is the niyama according to Adi Shankaracharya? The philosopher of non-dualism has been explained in this particular shloka or the verse. The running meaning of this aphorism or shloka or verse goes like this. The continuous flow of only one kind of or similar thought to the exclusion of all other thoughts is called niyama, which is verily the supreme bliss and is regularly practiced by the wise people. Now, if you remember, if you have heard my Saturday classes on Ashtanga Yoga, there Patanjali describes 5 components of the niyama. One is shaucha, means purity, external purity and internal purity. We have to keep our surroundings clean, environment clean. We have to keep the house where we live. We should keep it clean, and we should take a bath, and we should keep our body clean. We should use wash clothes, neat clothes. These are external cleanliness. And we should also be pure, clean internally. We should have good thoughts, good feelings, good thinking, doing good work, and trying to get away from all the unwanted instinctive thoughts or wrong ideas, wrong thoughts, or destructive thoughts. That is what shaucha or external and internal purification. The second is contentment. We always compare with others and we try to lose our mental peace. God has given many things for us. We forget about it. We forget to enjoy the life, whatever we have. Instead of that, whatever we don't have, we keep on craving for it and we lose the contentment, happiness, or peace. So the second component of the niyama, according to Patanjali, was santosha, that is contentment. Then the third was tapas, austerity. Why we need austerity? To purify the mind, to control the senses, to control the mind, and to control our instincts, All these things are included. Then the fourth one was Swadhyaya, scriptural study, study of scriptures, self-study, understanding who am I, what is my strength, what is my weakness. All these things we have to understand. And the other is Ishvara Pranidhana, surrendering to the divine or worshipping the divine, following the injunctions of the divine. All these constitutes niyama according to Patanjali in the Yoga Sutra. But Adi Shankaracharya is defining the word niyama differently. What he is telling? He is telling that we should have one thought, we should have a similar thought, which should be continuous. And enjoying and practicing a single thought, similar thought, we are all excluding we are all checking, we are all controlling different types of thoughts. And that thought is very happy, it seems. It is very happy and very blissful in nature. In a categorical, in a metaphor language, the author is trying to tell here. What does it mean? It means the author is trying to tell the thought of self, Aham Brahmasmi, I am that Brahman, I am that consciousness, I am that self, I am not this, I am the subject, not the object, I am the self, I am the self, I am the self. Those self-awareness, self-conscious thought should be going on always and excluding all other non-self thoughts. This is what niyama, according to the author in this particular verse. Means what? Keep on trying to think as much as possible. Encourage the thought that I am the self, I am that self, I am that self. So by encouraging, by practicing that I am that self, I am that self, I am that self, you are automatically, you are excluding I am not self, or I am the world, I am the body, I am the mind, etc., etc. And when I say this, or when author says this, when listeners, when they hear, why should we do this? Now say, I think how to improve my business, then I will get money. I think about there is a problem or some skills, then in the company, I will get money. Or okay, I will think something else, I will get some profit. Now, what is the profit in thinking I am the self? And that too all the time, continuously. What do I am going to get from this? The question may come for all of us, isn't it? We are all pragmatic people. The author says that it is blissful in nature. The moment when you keep on thinking that I am that self, I am that pure awareness, I am the pure consciousness, I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not thoughts, I am not emotions, I am not the feelings, I am pure awareness, I am pure conscious, which is a self, which is a subject. When I can stay in that single thought or continuously for large amount of time, for long time, what happens? My mind will be blissful. Why? My nature is blissful. I am that self. The self-thought, the thought of self continuously makes me blissful. The result, so we have to think always, I am self, I am the Atman, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Atma, Aham Brahmasmi. So that has been told by the author that you should keep on manana, it is told technically. It means you should keep on thinking that I am that self, I am that self, I am that self. Why? Because we have been hypnotized as I am the body, I am the mind, I am X, I am Y, I am son of so-and-so, I am father of so-and-so, I am wife of so-and-so, I am belong to this country, I belong to this religion, I have achieved this, I have achieved that. All these external paraphernalia, we have been obsessed with external paraphernalia. I am a director of the company, I am the minister in charge of this society. Like this, all external paraphernalia has been covered our mind, covered our thinking. It has to be removed. And the only, all these external paraphernalia can be removed by thinking, I am the self, I am the self, I am the self. By thinking that, what happens? The ignorance is removed. I will be dehypnotized that I am the object or I am body mind. I will be hypnotized as I am self. By that, I can have self-realization or God realization. That is what has been told in the 105th verse that as niyama. Now, in the next verse, the author is trying to tell the third step or the third technique, that is tyaga or renunciation. The moment you word renunciation, the devotees, oh, Swami is asking us to renounce the world. Why? He has renounced. So author is also probably encouraging. So should we renounce our home and earth? Should we renounce our family? Should we join monastery then? Should we go and stay in Vedanta society? No, we don't mean that. Here, Tyaga has got a different meaning. Let us try to understand. Tyagaha prapancha rupasya chidatma tyago hi mahatam pujyaha sadyo mokshamayo yatah. If you see in the Vedanta or in Indian philosophy, 4 stages of life has been explained. First is student life, which is called brahmacharya. So there you have to live a simple life, you have to study, you have to acknowledge, you have to acquire knowledge, you have to acquire skills, you have to have a personality development, character development, try to become an enlightened citizen. All these things you have to acquire in the student thing. Afterwards, you get married, then take up the family responsibilities, take up the social responsibilities, try to take care of your life, your family, and society, and country, and whatever is possible in and around people. Then when your children are grown up and they are able to take care of themselves, then slowly you have to start the life of seclusion. That is called vanaprastha. Probably in the olden days, they used to go to forest. You need not to go to forest now. At least you can have a life of seclusion. And after extending spiritual practices for a long time, if you feel renunciation strongly, then someone can take renunciation. The life of renunciation, that is monk or nun. This is the 4 stages of life, which is given by Indian philosophy or our Vedanta or Vedas. There's one more thing. From student life, who doesn't want to enjoy this world, enjoy the materialistic life or materialistic joy, he can directly jump, he can directly have a direct leap to become life of mendicant, life of monk. These are the 2 paths. For the monk, he has to have external renunciation as well as internal renunciation. For him, there is no choice. But what about now householders? Here, the author is trying to tell, you need not to renounce your home and earth. You need not to renounce your property. You need not to renounce your family, people and all. But you can renounce the idea of non-self. The abandonment of the illusory universe by realizing it as the all-conscious Atman is the real renunciation honored by the great people, since it is the nature of immediate liberation. Aparokshanubhuti means what? Immediate liberation, immediate realization. You may become the king, you may be the prime minister, you may be a business magnate, you may be a political entrepreneur, you may be a bureaucrat, never mind. You continue your work. You keep on doing your work, whatever you are doing as a profession, but internally you should be knowing that I am the self, and that consciousness of the self alone is true. All others, everything else is illusory. If you can hold this stand tight, and if you can stick on to this tight, that is what renunciation, according to the author in this present verse. This is a wonderful idea. I can be anything in my life. I can be a doctor, I can be a lawyer, I can be a political entrepreneur, business person, or computer techie, or an artist, or a filmmaker, director, something like that. Never mind. But at least in the heart of art, for your bread and butter, for your livelihood, you continue all that. But in your heart of art, you should be knowing that I am the self, and the consciousness is alone is true, and all else, everything else is appearance or illusory or delusion. Just like the rope alone is true, the snake is an appearance. So similarly, the consciousness alone exists, all others are illusory. Now the question may come, Swamiji, how to understand this? The simple example is our dream state. In the dream, you are the For an example, maybe Elon Musk. You were the son of Elon Musk. You were born in Elon Musk's house, you had a millionaire, and you had a BMW car, and wherever you want, you can go in a jet flight, and you have got so much amount. There is no problem, there is no dearth for the money, and you are having a lavish life. You went probably for Rome, you went for USA, you went for UK, you went for Australia, you went for Switzerland, and maybe Antarctica, because you had a money, you can have a lavish life. All things you have, you went, you enjoyed everything, and alarm bell rang. The moment alarm bell rang at the early morning, then you got up, then your sleep broke, your dream got broke, then you came to conscience or consciousness, then you understand, like when you went to sleep, whom you were the same person now. What about you were the son of Elon Musk. You went to Antarctica, Rome, Greece, Switzerland, Australia. Yes, all this is in dream. It was in the dream world. It was all illusory. Now, after getting up or after rising ourselves from the bed or coming out from the sleep, then only we came to know that that was the dream world, which I had an experience. That is a dream and it is never real. So similarly, whatever the experience we are having in this waking state, it is also a big, long dream that we are unable to understand. So that's what the author is trying to understand. Tell it. The moment you understand, even the so-called waking state is also a long dream state. It is also illusory. When you go to Turiya state, you will be able to understand this. So once we understand this, and when we hold on to the truth that Brahman or the self alone is true, all else is illusory appearance. That is what Tyaga, and that is what real renunciation. That's why we need to achieve this only. We have to do all our spiritual practices, all our thinking again and again, prayer, meditation, contemplation, scriptural study, attending my lectures, Aparokshanubhuti classes. All these things are what? To hold on to the truth. What is that? I am that self. I am that self. I am that self. That is what Tyaga, according to the Shankaracharya in this particular verse. Maybe I'll give one more example, you will understand. By understanding the rope, the ignorance of the rope as a snake has been removed. So the fear has been removed, the ignorance has been removed, then there is no more delusion in you. So similarly, the moment you understand that you are the self, the fear of death will go away. Something will happen to me, will go away. Someone can shake me, someone can kill me, someone can trouble me. All these ideas will go away. Why? Because you will understand that you are the self, you are not the body. For example, Sri Ramakrishna, we all know that he had a throat cancer in his later days or his last days. But he was never morose, he never cried, he never repented, he never cursed God or fate or whatever. He was happy. And he said, the cancer has come to this body, not for me. And he was enjoying his life. Whatever is possible, he was able to serve the people by giving a few good words and teachings. And he awakened more and more the spirituality in the devotees or in the youngsters during even at that juncture. I mean, no disciple had seen Sri Ramakrishna in a morose force even at that juncture, where he was, reduced to just mere skeleton or skin and skeleton. Why? Because he was not able to take the food at all because of throat cancer 100 years before. Isn't it? But still, he was not at all feeling unhappy. Why? Because he was well aware. He knew that he is a consciousness self and the cancer is only for this body, not for that self. That is the beauty of this Advaitic knowledge. The moment we understand this, no one can shake, none can shake us in this world. That's why we have to understand. So negate the non-self and accept the self, holding on to self and negating the non-self, leaving away the non-self. Anatman is what? Renunciation according to the author. Now, Yama is over, Niyama is over, Tyaga, 3 steps or 3 techniques, 3 spiritual practices has been told by author. Now in the 107th verse, he's telling the fourth spiritual technique one has to practice to have self-realization, or to remove the darkness, or to destroy the ignorance. Yasmad vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha yanmaunam yogi virgamyam tadbadevat sarvada buddha. The wise people practice mauna, silence. What is this silence, and why do we need silence, has been told in this particular verse. The wise should be always one with that silence, where from the words together with the mind turn back without reaching it, but which is attainable by the yogins. Means the word cannot touch it, since the word was unable to reach that and it came back. What does it mean? I tried to fly. I flied probably 100 or 200 or 300 or 500 or maybe 10 kilometers. I came back. I couldn't reach the sun. I couldn't reach the moon. Why? I cannot have such a big leap. So similarly, the words tried to reach the Brahman, but it couldn't. It came back. So it is again metaphorically they are trying to tell. In a poetic way they are telling. That means what? We cannot describe what the Brahman or the Atman is. That's what they are telling in the poetic style. The same thing has been simply, in very simplified way, Sri Ramakrishna has told. Everything has been defiled in this world, but only the Brahman has not been defiled. Why? He says that everything has been tasted by this tongue, but the Brahman is not tasted by the tongue. What does it mean? We can explain anything and everything in this world, but we cannot explain what the Brahman is. Means it is beyond the mind. It is beyond the thought. It is beyond emotions. We cannot explain what the self, what the Brahman is actually. That is the reason it is defiled. See how the wonderful, grand, subtlest truth which the Upanishad says, and it has been explained in a very simple way by Sri Ramakrishna. That's why we should all read Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. All the Vedantic truths has been narrated in a very simple way. So that's what has been told. So the first line is given by Upanishad. In Upanishads, they tell that the word cannot reach there. Means the word cannot describe what it is actually. It can be experienced. It cannot be explained actually. So they say that the mauna, the silence is nothing. In the Mandukya Upanishad, they explain the silence as the Brahman. Mauna as Brahman. One more name for Brahman is silence. Why? Because it cannot be explained what it is. That's what the author is trying to tell. Now, this silence has got different meanings actually, different shades of. One is what? Oh, Swami, how are you? I'm keeping quiet. I'm not talking. Then someone says that. Then I'll say, oh, today I'm not going to talk. I'm observing silence. Today, whole day I'm observing silence. I'm not going to talk. Means I am not uttering some sound. I am not uttering some words. So there will be no sound coming from my mouth. So when we say observe silence, that means what? Generally, we don't talk. You don't talk. Observe silence. There should be no sound. There should be no conversations. This is the one general accepted meaning. But here the silence is equated with the Brahman. Means why? Because we cannot explain what the Brahman, what the self, what the consciousness actually. That is the reason. And one more is, the silence is what? When you keep quiet, for an example, now in the EVS, there is so silence everywhere. Outside, there is no distance, no noise. Inside is also there, silence. And I also keep quiet. Externally, there is an absolute silence, absolute calmness. There is no disturbance, there is no noise, there is no talk, nothing. But there is so much noise in my mind. Mind is going in different directions. Senses are turbulent. Senses want to go here and there. Sense wants to enjoy with the sense world or sense objects. Mind wants to go outside and it wants to see that, it wants to hear this, it wants to taste something. So it is terribly restless. Means what? You have got a lot of internal noise. So when you sit for meditation, you'll be able to understand this. How much your senses and your mind is making noise. So if you can control all of them, if you can subdue all of them, then internal noise, it should be subdued, it should be calmed, it should be silenced. Then the reflection of yourself can be seen very clearly. That's why we need a control of mind. That's why there's a necessity of control of senses. That's why the spiritual practices, austerities, going to seclusion, going to, trying to live in the forest or in the secluded place. All this is told for why? To silence your mind, to silence your senses, to silence the internal noise. So that is also one more meaning. And one more shade of meaning is been philosophically told. Even the Maya, because of this Maya only, the Brahman is appearing as the world. Whoever knows Advaita, you will be able to understand. Even we cannot explain what this Maya is. Maya does exist, we cannot say. If it exists, it has to exist all the three times. Past, present, and future. It is not there. Past and present is there. The moment I realize who I am, and future, it will not be there. That means it is there, it cannot be said. But during ignorance, because of ignorance, I'll be experiencing the illusory things. So I cannot say that it doesn't exist completely. Neither it exists, I cannot say, nor it doesn't exist, I cannot say. It is somewhere in between. That's why the Acharya, the author says that it is anirvachaniya, it is inexplainable or unexplicable. I cannot explain what it is. Probably you take the example of rope and snake, you will be able to understand. Suddenly you said, oh, there is a rope in the corner. Then your BP got increased, your pulse rate got increased, your ECG was variation. Then you put a torchlight. Slowly you go near with a stick, holding on a stick. Then you see, oh my God, how much I'm a fool. It was a rope. There was never a snake. But for that 2, 3 or 4, 5 minutes, there was so much reaction in your body and mind. Fear, phobia, sweating probably, or your heartbeat increased. Your BP got increased, your pulse rate got increased for 4 to 5 minutes as a reaction. The moment when you use the torchlight and you came to know that there's a rope and not the snake, then everything got over. Now, whether snake was there or not, snake was never there. If snake was never there, then how did you experience the snake? Then can you say that snake is there? No, it can. You cannot say that snake was never there. You can never say that snake is there, but it is inexplicable. You cannot explain. Even so, Maya is also equated with the silence. Why? Because it cannot be explained. So these are the 3 or 4 shades of meaning has been given to silence. But here silence means what? Silence means what? Understanding who am I? It is Brahman. We cannot explain what it is. So try to experience. I am that Brahman. I am that self. It is the subject. It is never the object. Any weapon cannot kill. Air cannot air cannot dry. Water cannot wet. Fire cannot burn. It cannot be objectified. It is pure awareness. It is pure consciousness. Feel that. And the moment you feel more and more and more, your body, mind, senses, everything becomes calm, quiet, and you will be able to enjoy the serenity in the midst of the market. You may be in the market, but the moment you know who are you, nothing can shake you, nothing can disturb you. You need not to go to forest. You can be in the marketplace, but still you can be peaceful and calm and quiet. That is the beauty of the self-conscious. Establishing oneself in the self. That is what called mauna. So try to establish yourself in the self, or try to establish in yourself. That is what. By doing it, then everything will be silenced. You'll be able to see what it is. Then in the next verse, he is giving a philosophical explanation. Why I cannot explain what is Brahman, why I cannot explain what is Maya in the next 2 verses. So I will read out and I will explain both the verses at a time. Vacho yasmin nivartante taduktam kena shakyate prapancho yadi vaktavyaha sopi shabda vivarjitaha itiva vrud bandhaven maunam satam saja sangnitam gira maunam tu balanam prayuktam brahmavadibihi. The knower of the Brahman, they are saying that who can describe that which is Brahman? where words turn away. Or if the phenomenal world were to be described, even that is beyond words. This, to give an alternate definition, may also be termed silence, known among the sages, or congenial. The observance of silence by restraining speech, on the other hand, is ordained by the teachers of Brahman for the ignorant. Means you cannot explain what is the Brahman, you cannot explain what is Maya. So it is better, keep quiet. Silence is the best answer. Silence is gold, talk is silver, speech is silver. This is a standard saying, we all know. But observing external silence has been prescribed by the knowers of Brahman for the ignorant people, for the spiritual aspirants. Why? Because to control the mind, to control the energy, and channelizing the mind towards the self. You keep on blabbering. If you can make an experiment. Whole day, if you keep on blabbering, you keep on talking unnecessarily, what happens? And finally, evening you come and sit for meditation, you will not be able to meditate. Because whole day you are talking, you are blabbering, your energy has gone out. We don't understand when we talk, it is not that only our words are coming out from our mouth, lot of energy is going out actually. That's why in Bhagavata scripture they say, Yogasya Pratamadvaram Vang Nirodhanam. The first step for yoga means your spiritual practice, is control of speech. That means, should we observe silence all the time? No, we are living in the world. We have to converse now. But how much ever is required, only you talk so much. But unnecessarily, we keep on talking. As a result, time is wasted, energy is wasted, mind has become restless. From all these things, I am unable to control my mind. I am unable to meditate. I am unable to concentrate my mind on spiritual practices. Adverse effects. So, the yogis, or the brahmajnanis, or the spiritual realized persons, they say that if you want to be a spiritual aspirant, you have to observe silence. It is not that you should maintain silence, you should observe silence. Maintain silence, okay. When we are probably small, when we keep on talking, making noise, elders of the family, this is called sit simply, maintain silence, they say. So maintain silence is forcefully someone is making to keep quiet. Observe silence is, here no one is asked me to keep silence. I am trying to observe silence so that in between that time, I will try to understand, be mindful, be alert, or be conscious. So we have to observe silence. We should not maintain silence. Again, why we should observe silence? To control our body, to control our mind, to control our senses, and streamline the energy towards knowing the self, or going near the self, going near the God. That is what has been told in this particular verse. Means talk less and work more. How much ever is required, so much only you talk, and you keep on work. Maybe professional work or spiritual work. Spiritual work is what? Sadhana. Keep on doing sadhana. Unnecessarily we talk, we waste our time. And I tell something, the opposite person will tell something. If I get hurt, then I will give a retarding reply. He will give something. Then the conversation may end there. But if I come inside to my room or to my house, again, that will be lingering in the mind. That fellow said me like this. Oh my God. He should have said, he should not have said, I should have said like this, I should not have said like this, I should give contra. Next time when he come, I will teach him a lesson. All these reactions can come and it can spoil our mind, and our mind will become garbage. Our mind will become dustbin. So to avoid all these things, talk very necessary. That's a beautiful saying, a beautiful story, which comes in Socrates' life. A person, Socrates' friend, and comes and tells, look, there's a very interesting piece of information I want to share with you. I would like to share with you. Socrates said, fine, 1 minute, wait. First, you tell me, before sharing the information, I have 3 questions. If you answer, then I'm ready to listen to it. Then the person said, oh, you are a philosopher. Okay, please ask me. Whatever you are going to say, is it beneficial to me? He said, no. Is it beneficial to you? No. Is it beneficial to someone? No. then stop nonsense and get away. Either it is beneficial, it is neither beneficial to me, nor to you, nor the society. It is simply some air news. You have brought this, I'll stop this nonsense. Don't waste your time. Don't waste my time. Get out. See, if you keep this yardstick, lot of conversations in our day-to-day life, either in professional life or in family life, among with friends, among with relatives, among with the work group, we can avoid. We can avoid gossips. We can avoid air news. And so that lot of our time and energy can be saved, and we can use it in a constructive way, either which can be useful for society or which can be useful for myself. So we have to control our speech. We have to control our talk. So here mauna it is controlling the speech and controlling the talk as a sadhana, and the silence mauna means is what? It is another name for Brahman. Means you observe silence externally and internally. Be always thoughtful. Means always try to think about the self, that I am that self, I am that self, I am that self. Be aware of awareness. We are unaware of our awareness. That is what all our problem is. The whole of our problem is what? We are unaware of awareness. I am pure awareness. I am pure consciousness. I am pure existence. But I am not aware of my awareness. I am not conscious of my consciousness. So all our sadhana is be mindful. Means what? You be aware that you are awareness. Your awareness. Be conscious that you are consciousness. That is what mauna, a beautiful, a wonderful definition by the author in this word mauna. In the next, then he's telling about desha, space. Space is also one more spiritual practice, or one more limb of spiritual practice according to the author, which is quite interesting. We shall try to see in the next verse. Adavante cha madhye cha jano yasmin vidyate yenedam satata vyaptam sadesho vijnasmrutha. That solitude is known as space, wherein the universe does not exist in the beginning, middle, or end, but whereby it is pervaded at all times. Very beautiful things. There's a fifth limb, desha. Means what? The whole space, the whole world, the whole universe has come from where? From the Brahman. So Brahman is the substratum, the consciousness is the substratum where everything is existing. So how do you define the space? Oh, where we can, the matter can exist, the matter can take place, that is called space. I exist where? I exist in the space. This Ireland exists where? Ireland exists in the space. India exists where? India exists in the space. Galaxy exists where? Our Milky Way galaxy. Our Milky Way galaxy exists in the space. And the space exists where? It exists in the Brahman. It exists in the consciousness. So try to understand. That's what they are telling. So, it's also said you should go to seclusion. You go to secluded place and you try to meditate. And in probably when we give a tidbits for meditation, we say that try to go for a secluded place or try to go for a calm place, and it should be plain. It should not be either and either. If it is a down, you may fall, or it should be up also, you should not. It should be plain place. It should not be invested with the thorns, or it should not be invested with the worms, and should be clean from all these things. It should be clean, it should be pure, and it should be away from the noises. Such a place is suitable for meditation. We all say in a meditation classes. Why? When you have such place, then one can try to meditate, when one can try to concentrate. Means what? There you give enough space to have the self-consciousness or the God's consciousness. Again, yourself, including the world, is in this space. And the space itself is in the Brahman. So slowly, when you get internalized, when your mind gets sublimated, when your mind gets raised, your consciousness gets raised, then you'll be able to understand that the whole world is in space and the space itself is in Brahman. Brahman is the substratum for everything. It is a beautiful idea for meditation, Vedantic meditation. The space is a substratum for everything, and the space itself exists in the Brahman. So the Brahman is the substratum for everything. Whatever exists, everything exists in the space, and the space itself exists in the Brahman, in the consciousness. So the consciousness is the substratum for anything and everything, whatever exists. It's a beautiful idea. It is a Vedantic meditation one can do. So Brahman alone is called Vijana Desha, means where there is no people, where there is no one. Such a secluded place is what? Brahman. Now the beauty is, in the Yoga Shastras and all, we tell that you go to secluded place and you try to meditate, you try to do spiritual practices. Now, the Brahman himself is a desha. If you say that the Brahman itself is a space, then if you are in that space, then you don't need anywhere to go. You need not to go to Himalayas. You need not to go to any forest. You need not to go to any clean place. You need not to go to any secluded place. Why? Because you are in that space that is called Brahman. Means what? The Brahman consciousness, the pure awareness, or the pure consciousness. If you can exist in that pure awareness or consciousness, wherever you are there, in the midst of marketplace, in the midst of hundreds of people, in the midst of railway station or bus stand, bus stop, there never minds, your mind doesn't get disturbed. That's what we can see in the life of Swami Vivekananda. Life of all the great peoples, all saints, prophets, they were there in the midst of this world. The world didn't disturb them. Why? Because they were existed in themselves. Either you can say God conscious, God-centered people, or self-centered people. Self-centered means what? Your consciousness, not the embodied self, not the ego. So that is what the Brahman. Brahman himself is the space or the substratum for everything. You try to understand and you try to meditate, you try to feel, then you will be able to go near to the self and you will have a self-realization. Means whatever the ideas, whatever notions we have got, so the author is trying to tell that everywhere you try to cover with the Brahman, cover with the idea of consciousness, cover with the idea of consciousness. Then after space, immediately the author takes the next limb or the next practice, time. Time and space causation. The whole world has come from time and space, we say that. So the time and space has come from Brahman. Time and space exists in the Brahman. The Brahman is a substratum for time and space. Even for time also, the author is telling that it is also Brahman. Kalanat sarva bhutanam brahmadinam nimeshataha kala shabdina nidishto hi akhandananda kodvayaha. The non-dual Brahman, which is blissful in the nature, it is indivisible, denoted by the word time, since it brings into existence in the twinkling of an eye all beings from Brahman downwards. Means what? I came into existence 50 years before. I am existing. After 20, 30 years, I die. Means what? I existed in the time. From time I started off my manufacture, by my birth, and I've got a time of expiry, death, time of birth and time of death. This is what my life is. So I exist in time. I was born on such and such a time. I lived in such and such a time. I died on such and such a time. That means what? I lived for such and such a time. I am in that time. So time is the substratum from which I took birth, I lived, and I died. So every being, every animal, every plant, every organism, it came from time, it existed in the time, it died out, it dissolved in the time. Now from the creator God Brahman, from there onwards to amoeba, everyone came in Brahman, everyone came out in the time, sustained in the time, they got dissolved in the time. And this time itself is the part of, a time itself is the Brahman or the consciousness. That is one more name. Means what? Again, whatever you see, everything is Brahman and Brahman alone. That is what the idea. Because why? Brahman is the Sarva Karana. Brahman is the cause of anything and everything, whatever exists in the universe. Either living beings, non-living beings, plants, animals, birds, beasts, minerals, whatever you say, whatever you can think. From amoeba, atoms, nucleus, molecules, water, matter, everything is from Brahman alone. So Brahman is a substratum. So time and space has come from Brahman, and from time and space, everything has come from. So try to understand, equate the time with the Brahman. So even in the time, you try to start seeing that it is a Brahman, it is a self, it is a consciousness. Probably if you study Mandukya Upanishad, the 3 states of consciousness, there you'll be able to understand these ideas, these subtle ideas, the beautiful, subtle, grand ideas in a still more better way. So after Kala, he will take one more technique or one more limb of this 15 limbs, which he is telling that with by the God's grace, we shall try to discuss in the next class. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. Yeah, if you got any of you any question, I'll be happy to answer.
I don't know if this is really a question, but like, is the silence of Brahman, I'm not going to be exact or precise, but is the silence of Brahman not different in a way than the silence of the witness? Because if you're a witness, you know, you subject and object, even if the witness is witnessing awareness, there's still a duality there. So that the silence of Brahman has to be beyond the mind completely.
Yes, it's a good question. So initially now we are mixed ourselves with the object. I am the subject, but at the same time I'm mixed with the object. Now by practicing the witness, what happens? The self of, the awareness of I am the self or I am the subject gets increased. So as a sadhana, as a spiritual practice or the Vedantic practice, you should start practicing more and more witness. I am the witness. I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not this world, I am not this object. I should not identify with all these things, and I am separate. Yes, there is a duality, no doubt. I, subject and object. Subject-object duality is there, no doubt. But by becoming more and more detached, slowly, somewhere, I am the witness. Now I am telling, I will not be there. I am not the witness, or I am the witness, I will not tell. I will become the witness. I and witness will not be separate. That is what the silence of Brahma. So to reach that state, you have to practice I am the witness. That is the intermediary state, we can say.
Yeah. So it's like Turiya is the silence of Brahman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Swami, I have a question that it's as well.
Please.
It's a bit linked to that. It's the philosopher's question, like when there is a tree falling inside a forest and nobody is listening. A tree falling inside a forest. Is there a sound if there is nobody listening? And that's, I think it's John a bit what is the question, when there is an observer or no observer. And I was imagining this, like if there is somewhere a tree falling and nobody is there at this place where the tree is falling. It's still falling, but
okay.
I don't know if I'm expressing myself well. Yeah.
No, means no one is observing, no doubt, that a tree grew and tree fell off. Fine. What is your question, or what do you want to say?
Yeah, my question is this, like if there is nobody observing the tree, does it make a sound? No, because we need to have somebody that needs to listen it, isn't it?
No, because say no one is observing. Do you think that in the forest, when a big tree is falling, do you think that it doesn't make any sound? It makes, whether you see or whether you don't see. When falling a big tree, definitely it makes a sound. It is not because, because a big object is falling, it makes a sound, whether you see it. So because now say 100 people are there in and around the tree, do you think that tree will make a big sound because 10 people are there? No. Because that a tree is not aware of so many people are there in and around us, just like we are there. Yeah. It has got awareness or consciousness, but it doesn't have the amount of awareness and consciousness which human beings are having.
Yeah, I understand as well that it has as well a consciousness. The tree has a consciousness as well, yeah.
Anyone got any question?
So just to recap, on the level of sadhana, then it's possible. There's a practice to concentrate on witnessing, to go to stay with the witnessing until it, to watch your own awareness. You don't have to worry about turiya, because that'll happen when it happens. Yeah, it's a quiet thing. Am I right on a practical level?
You are right, Dharmat.
Yeah. Thank you, Swami.
Yeah. So I hope no other questions. We'll end the class then. Okay.
Okay, thank you.